Do I have any declarations of pecuniary interest?
Oh, man.
Sorry, I'm just closing my door. Okay, so seeing none, we can move on. I'd like to welcome our new member, Barbara. Hi, Barbara. You'll get to know us quite well over the year. I will also welcome Councillor Wardova, who is not here at the moment. He is our new council representative on the committee. And I'd also like to welcome back Joyce and Wayne, who left us for a year, but it's nice to have them back again.
Welcome back.
So the next thing is elections for this year. And
I can take over for that, Joan.
okay, thank you.
Okay. So we'll start with the chair for 2023. Are there any nominations for the chair for this year?
I nominate Joan.
I second that.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close nominations. I need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move.
Okay, I'm going to go with Linda and Ginny. All in favor to close nominations?
Yes. Yes.
Joan, will you allow your name to stand?
Yes, I will.
Okay, a mover and a seconder to appoint Joan as the 2023 chair.
I move. June.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, June and Susan, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
That's carried.
Thank you,
Okay.
Wayne.
All right, so we'll move on to the vice chair for this year. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Susan to stand for vice chair.
I'll second that.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, thank you. Sorry, everyone. We're just getting Ken in. He's in as an attendee. Here he comes.
Oh, there we go.
There he is. I'll just give him a second.
There
There he is.
I can't.
You're
Thank you.
muted, Ken. You're still, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Why
And we can see you.
to get into this system? Okay, here I am.
And we've just completed the election of the chair. Joan's been appointed as the chair for this year. So we're just starting vice chair.
Yes, I heard all of that, but I just couldn't.
Okay, so June has nominated Susan as vice chair for this year. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, a motion to close the nominations, a mover and a seconder. Linda and Ken. Susan, will you allow your name to stand for vice chair for this year?
I will.
Okay, motion to elect Susan as the vice chair for 2023.
I'll move that.
I'll
Wayne.
second it.
Okay, Wayne and Joyce, all in favor?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
carried.
All
All right, congratulations. Okay, Joan, over to you.
Okay, where am I at now? Oh, adoption for the previous minute. Hopefully everybody got a chance to read the minutes from our last meeting in August. So I will need a motion to accept those minutes.
I motion to accept those moments.
I'll
June, Barbara. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Yep.
Okay, accepted. So now we're going to move on to a business arising from those previous minutes, which is basically an update on where we're at with the reunion. I can tell you that we have 47 people registered and we've received all of their money for their registration fees from all the countries. I'm going to make a suggestion that we keep the registration fee at $375 for anyone else that may register. We had originally put in like a sliding scale to put it up the later people register. So Casey, do I need a motion to change that?
You could go ahead and do that because you did originally motion to raise it.
Okay, so could somebody put a motion to keep the registration fees to $375?
I so move.
Linda,
I'll second.
second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's carried.
Joan,
Yes,
are you going to make sure that all of the chairs know that we are doing that so that it might encourage some later
absolutely,
registration?
absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to move on to the itinerary. And we've been working very hard on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through each day. So I'll tell you where we're at, approximately how much we think it's going to cost. I can only give approximates at this time because I haven't got definite numbers at the moment. And so I'm going to start off with day one, which is August the 2nd. That is our registration meet and greet, and everybody will arrive hopefully between 1 and 6 to the country club, and we've already booked the room. We've got an approximate cost of $500, which will cover the cost of the room and any snacks or anything that we need to buy for that day. Does anybody have any comments on that?
I can
Just a
confirm,
thought. Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Ken?
I can confirm that the Stratford Concert Band will be having a concert that evening. And I've alerted them to that fact. And so we could add that to our calendar, I think.
Okay, I can write that in. But right now, has anybody got any comments about the meet and greet?
Just one, Joan. If somebody has not arrived by 6, are we going to have somebody stay until they arrive or leave a contact number that anybody who might be late arriving can contact us without somebody having to wait around at the country club?
We can work on that situation, and yes, it has been thought of, and we can work on that as we get closer. Once we get closer, then I will be asking everybody their approximate arrival times, and we need to know that so that we can notify the hosts what time they might be arriving.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is something we'll work on.
I asked something that's kind of before that, just because I'm new here and I don't know how things work. How are all these people getting to Stratford?
That's
Okay.
their problem.
It's their problem?
They
Okay.
will work out how to get here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so they just have to show up at the meet and greet and get
That's
here
right.
anyway.
They
Okay.
we will ask them, not yet, it's 6 months to go, so we will be asking them once they book flights, will they be arriving by airport or renting a car, train? And we will help them with that, get to the country club as we get closer. Okay, so the evening, once everybody's arrived, we will let their hosts know, and they will come to the country club and pick up their guests. If they're not able to do that, then we will make arrangements to deliver them to their host family. And they will spend the evening with their hosts. The hosts will decide if they want to feed them or take them out for dinner, or as Ken just mentioned, they can go to the the park for Music in the Park.
May I ask a question?
You may.
At this point, do we have any hosts who don't live near Stratford?
I'll get Joyce to fill us up on hosting
Okay.
later on.
Okay.
Okay. So any more questions on day one? Okay, day two is August the 3rd. We're starting the day with a city bus tour, and I'm allowing 3 hours for that bus tour. Susan and I are talking, we've got a bit of a glitch, but we're going to sort that out and we'll let you know about that later. So the idea is they'll do the city tour. On the way back, the bus will stop off at the festival warehouse and archives, and 18 of our group will get off and they'll do a warehouse tour. I have put those tickets for that warehouse tour on hold, and the cost for that will be about $270. And yes, you may not have that on your list because that is an addition, because I only found out that there was a warehouse tour that day recently. The rest of the group will then be dropped off at City Hall, and they'll have an hour to wander around town, get a coffee, whatever they want to do. The bus will then go back to the warehouse, pick up those people after their tour and bring them back to City Hall.
A question.
Ginny, yes.
Yeah. What's the time frame for that?
Don't know yet. The warehouse tour is at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
What
And then,
time it will start, I don't know right now.
okay. And then after you finished with the pub night, I have something else I've found that happens that night too, to suggest.
Okay. That afternoon, again, we don't know about time frame, but I have confirmed with the mayor's office that they will host a civic reception for us. Details I can't give you yet. I'm hoping that it will start around about 12:30, 1 o'clock, so people can go straight from the bus tour to City Hall. My one concern there is I know we've got 6 months to go. As we all know, there's a problem at City Hall with the elevator. So if that is not fixed, we will have to find an alternate place to have that reception. But as I said, I'm not going to worry about that one just yet.
Joan, I see that it has been fixed, but they're just waiting to be inspected.
Oh, good.
Okay, didn't know that, so that's a good thing.
That's good news.
Ooh.
In the evening of that day, I've got down there a pub night, and that'll be people's choice. If they want to join whomever, which pub, I haven't got a clue at the moment. So that's something we'll work on. And as I say, if we go to a pub, Queen's Inn, Gillies, whatever, people will be responsible for buying their own dinner at that pub. Or they can go somewhere else. It's really their choice. I've talked to the people who do the ghost tour. The name escapes me at the moment.
Playmakers?
Playmakers, thank you, Linda. I've talked to the Playmakers and they are willing to do a ghost tour for us. It's all walking, so it will be limited for some of our guests not to go on that. They take 20 people per tour, and that would come to about $450. that would be one of their choices. I'm going to be giving them choices to either do the warehouse tour or the ghost walking tour. At this point, they can't do both. And again, that will come in time as we sort out our schedules. Ginny, you said you had something to add that night?
Oh, yeah, I just want to question what you just said too, because I'm wondering, there are different times of the day, one's dinner, one's in the morning. Why can't they do both, even if they have to pay for one?
That might be an option, but at the moment it's not.
Oh, it's going to just be one or the other?
At the moment, yes.
Okay. Okay, what I found, now this is later in the evening, but on August the 3rd, they have late night open mic at the Bunker Cafe and Studio. That's on Wellington Street.
Okay.
And I didn't get a time for it, but I have a phone number. And also that night, there's karaoke from 8 to 11 at the Heritage Hot Brew Company on Market Street. Those are just, you know, like, because you would ask me to find things to do when they're off time. And so
What was the last one? Where was that at? The karaoke?
Heritage Hop Brewery. Hops, HOPS, like, you know,
That's right beside the hub.
Yeah,
Right in there.
yes, yeah.
That's on Market Square?
21 Market Street,
Okay.
or yeah, Marketplace, they
Where?
call it.
Yeah, okay, I think I know where that is. Yeah, and that's, they might like to do something different.
I mean, it just this was within
Any
the
more
scope of what you
questions
asked me.
about August 3rd? Anybody, anything else for the August 3rd? Okay, moving on to Friday, August the 4th. That is going to be our Perth County tour. The idea is the bus tour will take us to 4 or 5 places, and we'll have lunch in there as well. I've got down the cost as approximately $4,000 to $5,000. But Wayne, as you're organizing that, do you want to fill us in a bit more?
Yes, okay. We had talked at our informal meeting about using animes as the luncheon place, and they're very receptive to that. And if I'll just give you highlights, they offer a lunch of either roasted chicken or roast beef, and they do have a vegetarian option, probably chili. You get a choice of tea or coffee with that, and you get a choice of homemade pie or cheesecake for dessert. And on each table, there will be a relish tray and a coleslaw tray as part of that meal. It's $27.25 for the smaller portion, which when I have been there, I find adequate. If you want to go with everybody having the larger portion, it's $30. And that includes gratuities and taxes. So it's, I think it works out to $1,350 for the smaller portion, and it would be $1,500 for the larger portion, based on 50 people. Ken and I have been talking about the overall length of the tour. We haven't come to a conclusion, but before we select the places, we each want to go to them and get a sense of the overall time it's going to be to travel from place to place. And we're hopefully going to end up somewhere in the east side of the county so that we can just have a brief finish off at the Wild Hog, as many have suggested. But beyond that, I can't give you any more specific. I would say that the actual toured sites, we're talking probably $1,500. And then the other major cost is the bus. And Susan has been trying to get that, but hasn't been able to nail down a price on the bus for the day at this point. One thing about the lunch, Amanda, the lady I talked to, said it would be very helpful if 2 days before, which is the arrival day on Wednesday, we could have their choice of whether they're going to have the roasted chicken or the roast beef or vegetarian. And Susan suggested that maybe that could be a choice they make when they're doing their registration packets that they send to you, Joan, which
Yes, I'd already thought we'd do that. Then we don't have any problem doing a late asking people or missing something. It'll be part of the choices.
yeah, exactly. However we do it, but they said that it would be very helpful to them if they had a 2 days advance notice of the choices that they were going to be putting together. And I think that would make for a fairly efficient lunch hour for a group, at lunchtime for our group. And I think we could probably get it to an hour and a half with the pre-choices being ready for us.
Perfect.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So I think that
Ken?
if we add up the prices that we've estimated, it's going to be more like $5,000 or $6,000 doing the bus, and we'll may have to make some payments to the farms that we visit as well. So I think that's a more reasonable estimate. Don't you agree, Wayne? That
Yes, I would. I think we're going to be in the ballpark of 5 to 6. I think it'll be, if it's that in that area, I think it'll be closer to 5 than 6. So.
okay.
Okay. Any more comments on the bus tour? Okay, that evening when we get back, once we know what's going on, then that evening will be for them to spend with their hosts. They can choose to go to another play that evening, or again go out, whichever they want to do, or just relax, because it's going to be a busy day. Moving on to Saturday, August 5th. That is going to be our theatre day, and I've already taken the liberty of sending people what their choices will be for that day, and I'm starting to get responses of what they would like to see. I've had people say they want to see King Lear, and they're expecting to see that at the new theatre. So I have to correct everybody each time. No, it's not at the new theatre. This is at the new theatre. So they may want to go and see something else, so they see a different theatre. My estimate for theatre tickets is about $2,700 to $3,000. They can choose an afternoon matinee, an evening show, and then a Sunday show if they're not doing the Niagara Falls trip. Evening on that Saturday is, I've put in there to take your host to dinner, and they will arrange that with their host, and I will highly recommend that they ask their host to reserve somewhere in advance. And it is expected that the delegates will pay for their hosts for their dinner. Any questions on that one? Okay, sorry, somebody had a question?
Oh,
Oh,
not a
Judy.
question, but they're getting, like if for some reason they're not doing some of these things, they could go to the Stratford Summer Market. From 7 a.m. to noon, they're open.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to go for 5 hours, but it's just, like sometimes people don't want to do some things. And
that's why we give them the choice.
Yeah, well, that was just one other thing I came up with. And also, if anybody's interested in taking a liquor tour or a guided tour of a distillery, Junction 56 does one on Saturdays. and they charge $10 a person, and they will do groups up to 30, or they'll do as few as 6.
Is that Saturday morning or afternoon?
They'll do it Saturday between 10 and 5, or, you know, if there was some time in the
Oh, I
week
see.
that people wanted to do it, they will, you know, we can probably make special arrangements with them.
You need something else for your free time list is art in the park on
Okay.
Saturday and
Oh,
Sunday.
yeah, I've got that. But thank you. Just to come and see you.
June, you had a
Yes,
question?
I was just wondering, did you have any other plays that were on the Saturday other than King Lear?
I've got that.
Oh, yeah, you can look at their,
I've got it in
you can
front
look
of
at
me.
their, the guide online. You
Yeah.
can see, I've got everything listed, but I don't have it right in front of me.
Oh,
And I've
I-
sent
I
those
have it.
choices to,
I have it.
yeah.
2 p.m. is King Lear's,
Everybody can look it up themselves if they want to know what's playing.
but I really like your idea of opening up the Sunday as well, because that gives them a choice of a total of 7 shows. And that's pretty good variety.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Sunday the 6th. That is the day we've set aside for those people that wish to go to Niagara Falls, which they will be paying for themselves. Susan's working on getting an itinerary for that and a cost and a link so they can book directly with the tour company.
The cost I was given the other
If
day,
they choose not to go, there's several things they can do. They can go to the theater. They can spend the day with their hosts, and there'll be other things. And the one thing that Ken has told us about is the walk through TJ Dolan with a field naturalist. And I'm going to put that on their list of choices. That is something, I'm assuming it doesn't cost anything, right, Ken? It's a free activity. So anybody who's not going to Niagara can choose to do that. But Ken suggested if we can, we get an idea of who would like to do that in advance. So I will put that on the choices list when I get to that.
Joan. There's also a
Oh, Susan, yes.
There's also a paid Stratford music performance at the Avondale, as well as free music again in the evening in the park.
All of those things can be put on our list of extras, which again, send these ideas to Ginny because she's compiling that list of all the extra free time activities. Okay.
Joan? Joan,
Anything else for Sunday? Linda?
What is World in a Weekend in brackets for?
Okay, Summer Music are doing World in a Weekend again. You may know they've just done it for World in a Weekend Winter. They had the puppets and everything. Last year they did World in a Weekend, and they had all kinds of activities and things going on.
We're losing you.
Oh.
Any more questions about
We missed
Sunday?
most of that, Joan.
We missed a fair
No,
amount.
we good? Okay. I'm sorry, Mike.
There she goes.
Okay, I'm back. Don't know why that happened.
You were talking
missed
about
most
World
of
in a
that
Weekend.
Yeah, we missed most of what you said about World in a Weekend. You
Okay,
said about them doing the winter one.
Okay. So it happened last year where they had various activities downtown organized by Summer Music, and we'll get more details about that as we get closer. But I have been, it has been confirmed that it will happen over that long weekend again.
I just wondered why it was in brackets.
I just put it in there like that.
Okay. That's fine.
Because it is happening.
Okay.
And that's something people will do on their own.
Yeah, it's like, that should be on the free time list, really, I think, shouldn't it?
It will, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so moving on to Monday, the August the 7th, and this is the holiday Monday. Again, World in the Weekend will be happening all day. And that is the day we're organizing the garden dedication. And at this point, Ginny and Cassie, who couldn't make it today, are working on that. Do you have anything to fill us in, Ginny? I know it's in the early stages.
Well, I guess I have a few questions for everyone about it possibly. Like, I understand that it's supposed to be kind of short and sweet, so that, and I had an idea of asking each representative from the visiting countries to bring a flag, and they could place like just a small, 8 by 12 or whatever flag, and they could place it in the garden. And then after we've had our ceremony, they should all take them back because somebody would just steal them. But it might make it so inclusive for these people to, be there representing their country, putting the flag. And I thought that might be a nice sort of ceremony part to it. And then I know there's a concern about getting ministers to come, and I'm proposing that possibly we consider having only one minister who will say that he is representing all the churches, synagogues, etc. in our area, because that way nobody gets offended that their base religion is not being recognized. And, which want to do things as politically correct as we know how. Anyways, what do you think of the flag idea?
I love the flag idea.
Sounds great.
Absolutely.
Great photo opportunity.
Yeah.
That's,
And Jenny,
Yeah.
in the past, Wayne and I had worked on a plan for it, and I can meet with you sometime before our next planning meeting and go over some ideas and maybe talk to some people.
since the subject of flags came up, I'm reminded that at one point we had planned to ask the hotel downtown that has a variety of flagpoles to, while the visitors here, to erect flags from the 6 countries. And I will pursue that again if you wish.
Yes, please.
That would be nice.
Yes.
I mean, that's there.
Going back to Ginny and your idea of having one minister or one representative to cover all areas. I like that idea, but I know you say short and sweet, but I think we need to make contact with the Council of Churches that Susan made contact with originally. Susan and Wayne made contact, and see how that develops first.
Okay. I know it's hard to get someone on a long weekend because I had to plan a funeral one time, and I must have called 20 ministers of different faiths to help me out. And so I don't imagine that has changed, because something I read, I guess, that was forwarded to me, that the ministers like to have Mondays off. And when it's a holiday Monday, I think they extra like to have it off.
Well,
we
let's
were
be
through
honest,
those hoops.
you won't know until you ask, is
Yeah.
what I say.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you contact them and you get a definite no, that's fine.
Okay. So
I do
Susan
know-
has the information, so we will talk.
I
and
did
then-
forward it to you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do we ask other people, like a provincial, federal? Obviously they're going to meet the mayor, municipal. do we have any levels of government that also come to this?
We have whoever we want to invite. It's something we've never done before. So at this point, I don't know. We'll wait and see until the civic reception is organized, see who can come to that. And then we can see if someone can come to the garden dedication.
Okay, so when do you think you'll know about the civic?
I have
Because
no
if we're
idea.
gonna get this done, we need to get on with it.
Give me time. I'm
And-
doing the best I can.
Okay, and then another thought that somebody suggested was maybe having, young people come and sing "O Canada," or, a choir or some, Girl Guides or some
The problem
group.
is, we don't have any sound system there. We might be able to rent a microphone and, or something. But for a choir to be there, I'm not sure that will work.
Sorry.
Yes, Linda.
I just wondered if Ginny had thought about an officiant as a non-religious person for this ceremony, as opposed to trying to get some minister, a religious person that would cover all of them. And the second thing is, I think we were talking, or Kathy was talking about the bagpipe band. They certainly wouldn't need any sound system.
You think? I'll fill you in on the non-denominational officiant. Kathy does know someone, and she's asked me if she should ask her. I said, I'm not sure yet.
Just an idea, that's all.
No, and it's a good idea. But I think the first thing we need to decide is how long this might be. So, Ginny, put together your ideas, put it down, figure out how long it might be, and then we can go from there. And yes, and I think Joyce has contacted the pipe band, and she can probably fill us in on her contacts, what she found out about them. Can you do that, Joyce?
Yes, the first question that I was asked, was this going to be a paid gig? And I wasn't sure. I kind of had the feeling before, because we had Murray Slotzauer and Dave Stewart's two children in the band, that I don't know if we paid for that before. Wayne thinks probably we didn't. So I asked him about 3 different times. However, there's more than one person who's part of this pipe band, and they drive from out of town and they still work. So how willing they would be to take time off work and then come and, perform and then not get paid, I don't know. I asked about 3 different things.
It's a holiday.
One of
Monday.
them,
Just
one of them, and maybe that would work on the Monday. One of them I asked about was, but what do we have on the Monday?
the garden ceremony
Right,
that
so,
we're talking
so
about.
I did ask, first of all, about the civic reception, because we've always had that in the past where we get the mayor piped in. However, that's a weekday and we don't even know if the mayor has actually been confirmed to come that day.
Yes,
I
he
asked
has.
about has he confirmed that he will?
Yes.
Anyway, that is a work day for them. I did ask about, for sure, the garden dedication, because I knew we were in the process of planning that. And then I asked about the Wednesday night. No, sorry. Where's the
Tuesday.
other?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, which, I don't have my notes here. What day did they say they practice on, Joan? I sent you that.
Wednesday.
Right.
Wednesday.
And so, but we have nothing on a Wednesday night, because
We don't have
Usu-
Wednesday.
no, we don't.
No.
So usually what they do, they come to Stratford once a week. That's their practice night. And they incorporate their practice by playing at a senior's home. I guess they figure the seniors, don't know if they're, it's a practice. It's simply a practice. He's going to be asking the band members and getting back to me. I'm hoping that they would pick, I know that wasn't our first choice, but I was hoping they would pick the garden dedication, because we're in the process of planning that, and I had let Kathy know that. And also, they wouldn't have to take time off work.
What about just a single piper?
I could ask him about that. I don't, now the name that you gave me, Joan, is he actually in the pipe band? Do you know that?
I've no idea. That name was just given to me by Heather.
And I didn't ask about a single piper, but that is a very good idea. And so he said he would definitely phone me back. I'm guessing he's not going to phone me back until after they've had their next practice, which is tonight. Now it's snowy, so whether they actually have a practice tonight, I don't know.
Yeah, we all look outside. Yes, it's snowing.
Well, when you see some of the band members come from out of town, so I'm in the process of waiting for him to return to respond. So that's all I know at this point in time.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion in terms of the officiant or the non-religious person to dedicate the garden?
Yeah.
Maybe the mayor would be the right person to do that kind of thing, because he sometimes performs that kind of activity and is not necessarily associated with a particular religion.
It's a possibility.
Like-
But I'd like to make sure we've got the civic reception sorted out
Well, it
first.
could be something else.
And then it could be an extra. Anything else about the garden?
Not right now.
Thank you. Monday evening we are going to have our banquet, and that is going to be at the country club, and that room is booked. My estimate is roughly $5,000 for everybody, because we will be inviting our hosts and volunteers as well to that banquet. Anything you want to say about that, Susan, as you're the one that's working on it?
Actually, that one's probably coming together quite well. I don't know if I should back up and talk about garden at all. Do we need any? Would this be an appropriate place to ask for funds?
I do have you on the list for later down if you want.
Very good, very good, very good.
Okay.
Joan, could I say one more thing about the pipe band?
Yes.
So I did ask specifically about Dave Stewart's sons, kind of in the comment about having a single person. So I thought maybe just the two sons, and they've handed in their equipment. So they don't have their uniform and everything. They've handed that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, we can move on and see how that comes together later on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, going back to the
Oh.
banquet. Susan, anything more to say on that?
There's a fair variety of choices we can make depending on our numbers, and I think Joan has put in a appropriate quote that will cover us in most cases.
And that 5,000 would cover taxes and gratuities. People would be responsible for buying their own drinks.
Correct.
If we find we have a little bit of money when we get to that point, we may decide to put a bottle of wine on each table. I haven't got to the point where what do we want to do at the banquet, because we would normally have somebody talk. But again, haven't got to that point yet.
Joan, can I
Yes.
ask?
Yes.
How many
June.
volunteers do you have where are you using those?
I haven't got a clue right now, June.
Oh, okay. Well, we hadn't mentioned about volunteers very much before, and that was what I was just wondering if there was quite a few that you were thinking were going to help out with the committee as far as helping people getting on buses or getting arranged?
That
But that
is,
was,
that is the plan. And
Mhm.
previously for 2020, we had 15 volunteers.
oh,
I have not contacted those people yet.
okay,
We've got a lot of people who originally said they were going to be hosting, have decided not to host, but they will volunteer. So that's something that I'll be doing in the future.
okay.
Okay, we good there? Okay, moving on to Tuesday, August the 8th. This is going to be basically our grand finale, if you like. And in the morning, the other people who did not go to the warehouse tour at the beginning, there will be a chance to go to the warehouse tour on this morning. The thing is, there's only 36 tickets available for both tours, and we have 47 people. So it's going to have to be first come, first served. 10 people are going to be disappointed. So that's the only way I can do it. The theater will not consider doing any more tours. They always did private tours in the past. That is not going to happen. We had also asked to do our own garden tour of the festival gardens, because Wayne and I used to do that for Friends of the Festival. And Wayne had volunteered to take a group if they wanted to tour the gardens. I have not got the okay from the festival. I've asked several times and I get the, oh, we'll get back to you. And that's been going on for 3 months. So
If that were to happen, wouldn't that a good time to do that would be after the garden dedication?
there's a lot of different options in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll keep working on that one. So again, the afternoon, as I say, this is going to be our grand finale. We're going to be going to the museum. The idea is people make their own way to the museum, whether it's with their host or with their taxi. They'll make their own way out to the museum. The afternoon at the museum, Ken, do you want to fill us in what will be happening at the museum, hopefully in the afternoon?
A cornucopia of things. Megan at the museum is organizing a 6 or 7 ring circus. The original thought was they would visit the museum and that would be it. But no, they can do that if they wish. But they could also look at the first folio editions of Shakespeare's plays, which will be on exhibit. These are 500 years old now.
Yeah.
And that should be of interest to people from the other Stratfords. They're organizing for some reenactors. These are reenactors reenacting activities of that era. And there are 4 or 5 of them who will be displaying doing their activities and showing people what life was like at that time as well. There will be some exhibits from the indigenous people. We haven't settled on for sure on what that will be at this point. So there'll be many things going on, as I say, it'll be like circus, so people will have lots of things to participate in. And this is with the not only the cooperation but the eager help of the museum. So the museum is contributing greatly to this effort, and we have to thank them for that.
And talking about thanking them for that, the idea was, as most of you know, in the past, we have asked people to contribute to a local charity. In the past, people used to take a gift to each country and present it to the mayor. And before we went to Australia, we were talking about a gift to take to Australia. And we'd also talked, well, where are all the gifts that have been brought to our Stratford? It would be nice to have a display of them here when people come here, which should have been in 2020. Nobody could find any of those gifts, which was a very, I was basically told, well, they're probably stored in the attic at City Hall. So we came up with the idea to suggest to people that each country make a donation to a local charity that the host country decides on. We have decided, well, we've talked about it, but we'd like to ask people to make a donation to the museum, because they are doing so much for us and they're letting us use all their resources. They're not charging us admission fees, and it's going to be all part of the package. So again, Casey, do I need to make a motion to approve that?
To approve the donation to the museum?
Yes.
I think you should.
I
Okay.
will make that motion.
Okay, somebody
second.
want,
I'll
Okay.
second.
all in
Ginny?
favor?
Yes,
Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. Okay,
I have a question.
Ginny, just a second. I'm just going to ask Ken first. Ken, do you have anything else to say
Yes,
about the museum?
In fact, there is.
Yeah.
I neglected to mention that Wildwood and the outdoor educators at Wildwood are also going to be contributing to this event, and they're going to provide maybe some hikes and some talks on the subject of conservation and climate change. So that's another arrow in the quiver of this exciting event.
And I did get the gentleman's name. I think it's Vanni, but I couldn't pronounce.
It's Vanni, V-A-N-N-I.
Okay, and I
someone
couldn't pronounce his last name.
Vanni Azzano.
Okay, thank you. And of course, Patsy Day, Patsy Ann Day will be there, and she will be talking to our people about Indigenous things that are happening in the community, and anybody can, I'm not sure exactly how Megan's setting that up yet, but
The original plan included hiring some Aboriginal dancers and musicians for performance, but that has been suggested recently that maybe we could get some students who are learning these things to put on a performance instead of the adults. And that idea appeals to me immensely for several reasons. One is that it shows that this is a reinvigoration of a culture that may have been suffering, and furthermore, it would be cheaper.
That's always
Definitely.
A whole bunch cheaper.
yes.
So Megan is pursuing that. I hope.
Yes, she said she would.
So
Okay,
do we need to know what the cost of this is going to be. We got an estimate for some of the costs, and the if we added up all those things together, it came up to something like $1,500. Now, we don't really know how much these things are going to cost, and I had suggested at one point we should budget for $2,000. But if we can find some cheaper way of providing Indigenous entertainment, then maybe be less than that. So maybe $1,500 is an appropriate number to go by.
and again, we can put 2,000 in. If we don't spend it,
Well,
then that's good.
I would prefer to do that just to provide a bit of a cushion, because we don't really know how much these things are going to cost us. Some of them, of course, are going to be free.
Yes.
And that's, I like that.
Yeah, free is always good.
Yep.
Okay, so anybody got any questions for Ken? Ginny?
Oh, now, at one time they talked about getting some of the people that sell their indigenous
Oh.
crafts to be at the museum. And I thought that was a great idea because these would be unique items that people would be able to take home and remember coming to visit us.
I think that's still part of the plan.
Yeah, she had
what-
four, I think, 4 vendors so far.
The list of things I gave you had to do with the cost that we might incur. So that's, I thought was.
Oh yeah, well, this would be a freebie. I don't know if they
Yes,
pay to
yes,
be
well,
there
no,
or
that's-
how that.
They
works.
don't.
Megan says that she might be able to arrange some of that. So that, yes, that's part of the plan.
Any more questions for Ken? No, good, okay. So did somebody say something then? Okay. Moving on, we would arrive at the museum about 2 o'clock. Everybody, and we will be inviting hosts and volunteers to that event as well. And they'll do the activities at their own pace. They'll look around, they'll do whatever. But roundabout, again, I'm guessing time-wise, roundabout 5 o'clock, we plan to have a barbecue. That is going to be at the museum as well. Susan, can you fill us in on what you know about what that possible barbecue? Because Susan's been talking to the Ag Society about possibly doing that for us.
Yes, I've talked to the Ag Society, several volunteer members, nobody directly on the board, but their chairperson coordinator. They are having a meeting tonight. We are on their agenda under new business for tonight. Their approximate costing in the past has been around about $25 a person. But if we're adding beverages, that would be extra. Now, one thing that's interesting, the museum has a license, and I've put to them that if they're interested in serving a bar to us under the museum's license, that they could probably have those funds for their fundraising purposes. So yeah, basically waiting to hear back from their meeting tonight. And then previously Joan also had an option, if that doesn't work out, that Black Angus caterers might be another option. And
Okay.
should I go into Wednesday as well? Because I also talked to the Ag Society for the farewell breakfast on Wednesday as well.
Yeah, you might as well talk about that too.
Yeah, because that we were talking about doing a breakfast on a bun type event with some beverages, coffee, tea, juice. And it would be similar to what they serve at the market on Saturdays, just to see our people all off at the Rotary.
Okay, so following the barbecue, we're also going to have our Catalano concert at the museum. You'll all know that there's a wonderful stage out there, and I'm going to let Linda fill you in on that one, as she is graciously organizing that. I'll just reiterate first, Linda. It was suggested, I'll back this up again. Many of us have already been to one of the other countries. Previously, the concert has been each country participating in that concert and doing some kind of a skit, singing a song, or just basically making fools of ourselves, which we've done that several times, but we've had fun. It was suggested, because of the aging nature of our group, that maybe we don't want to do a concert as such. So it was suggested that we maybe have a concert that featured local talent from the country who is hosting. So we picked up that idea and we all agreed it was a wonderful idea, and every single country went along with it. So again, now I'll hand over to Linda, who will explain what we hope we're going to do.
Thank you, Joan. I came across a person who coordinated a show, the music for a show that I was at. It was an art show and there was music there. I'm going over old business because of Barbara's presence now. Sharon Katz, and she agreed to help us, and she knows these local people and has arranged for Luke Robertson, guitarist and singer. Herself, Sharon is a songwriter, a singer, and a guitarist, and she's going to perform with another guitarist. Her husband has a 4-piece band called Thundering Velvet. Then we have Leo Stock, who's an award-winning step dancer. Sharon's quoted us for a sound person, but I think Megan at the museum intimated that they have somebody. I know they have the sound system, so if they have the sound system, I don't know whether they've got the sound person or not. Anyways, she included that in her quote. Sharon's going to take on the job of Master of Ceremonies, which I think is a good idea because she knows all these people and she'll be able to give them a good introduction.
Okay.
And for her work on doing all this, she's charging us as well. And her quote is for $974.25, which I think is fairly reasonable. I did quote you $800 at our planning meeting, but that didn't include her charge. I've asked, she mentioned that her husband's band would be quite prepared to play on later than the 9 o'clock supposed closing, and so I've asked them to be last so that if we do want to go on and people want to dance or whatever, we can do so, and the museum's happy with that as well. I understand Megan to say that. So everything's in Sharon's hands, and all we have to do is give her a deposit, and it's a done deal.
Thank you, Linda. One thing I will mention is for those of you that have been to the concerts previously, at the end, we always have the next country announced. And I'm not sure how we're going to do this. So I'm going to suggest we're doing a lot of things differently this time than previous countries have done. I'm going to suggest maybe we do that at the beginning of the concert.
Sounds good, yeah.
As you know, we have 4 people coming from New Zealand, and the big secret is we might be going to New Zealand next. But the leader of the meeting of the New Zealand, he has never been involved before. He's taken this over so that the organization continues in New Zealand. I have talked to him briefly about various things, and I think I'd shared with you all some time ago, I can share it again, a video that I had of Step Up Taranaki, which is, it's a big fun video. I'll share it with you again. And I would like to play that when it's announced that New Zealand is going to be taking over, taking on the next reunion. I have talked to Megan. They do not have a screen on the stage at the museum, but they do have a portable projector. She's working on it with John Kastner, and she's going to get back to me. But do you think it'll be okay to do all those announcements and anything else that needs to be talked about at the beginning of the concert than at the end of the concert?
It
I
sounds
think in
very,
view of the fact that we are thinking of maybe having it prolonged a bit, if people are enjoying it, I think maybe at the beginning would be better, yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Linda. What, Susan?
I was basically gonna say that to tie up business and then let everybody relax.
Let everybody have a fun time, and those that want to retire early can go home early if they want to.
We don't want-
Everybody okay with that?
One comment, Joan,
Okay.
if it's summertime and if you do that at the start of the concert, how effective would it be doing an outdoor projection?
It'll be dark.
By 7?
No, it won't. It's
Oh,
summertime.
that's
Joan.
right. It's not,
What
well,
about doing that inside at where they've got the beaver thing?
we could do that and then move everybody outside for the actual concert.
Yeah, I just think that, yeah, to try and do a projection, say at 7 o'clock in the evening, it's not going to be very effective outdoors.
No, I know there are special screens that you can have, but projectors that will play during the daytime. But I doubt that's what the museum has got at this point. Okay, yeah, no, I like the idea. Maybe we'll have those discussions. I don't know how many people can be seated inside.
Well, it could just be, how long is that video? It's not, how long is it?
Oh,
I mean, you
no,
could
but
just-
it's not just that. There's also other things.
Oh, okay.
Announcements to make and thank yous, and that is where we would present the money to the museum. So I would ask John Kastner to be there. Again, that's something that needs working on, but I'll ask Megan how many people can be seated inside, and if
She
if
has
that's
said,
going to be possible. I'm sorry,
she has
Ken?
said at various times it's 50 people. 50 people can be seated inside. But if it were a short event, some people could stand and we might be able
Yes.
to accommodate a few more that way.
But I'm
Or
just wondering if they've got a maximum number of people that can be in that area.
Like a fire regulation
Yes.
number.
Yeah,
I just had another thought,
Susan, yeah.
being that we don't specifically have anybody to speak at the banquet. I know we're jumping ahead a day early, but could we introduce New Zealand as the next host then? Because we'll be indoors.
We could possibly do that.
That's-
Idea.
I like that idea.
Yeah, we could do all our speeches, invite John Kastner there. Well, we could still present John with his check or whatever at the museum, but all our wrap up could be at the banquet.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, okay, we'll work on that idea. Anybody got any more input or questions about the museum? It's going to be a busy day. It's going to be
Good way to
fun.
finish, good way to finish off.
Oh, absolutely.
Finish on a high note.
Okay, and Susan's already covered the farewell breakfast. That will be on Wednesday morning. And right now the plan is it will be at the Rotary Complex. And that's where everybody will meet and they will have their plans for when they're leaving. And that also is where we would invite the hosts to participate in the breakfast because they'll be dropping people off. Ginny, did you have a question, Ginny? No?
No.
Anyone else have a question about the farewell breakfast?
Oh, I was thinking, with respect to the museum, hopefully the free taxi rides to culture events will be.
Oh, I hope
operating
so.
at the time. We'll be able to count on that.
Yeah,
I'll put those on the list of the taxis.
yes.
Remember.
Well, we don't know it's going to go ahead yet,
No.
but we'll make sure we get it in there if we know. They were waiting to find out if they have funding
Mhm.
before. And I should mention, going back to the museum, they are hoping to have a canopy over the seating area by next summer. As you know, if you know the area, it's open to the elements. They are hoping for a grant, and the canopy would be, it would be linked, fixed to the stage, both sides, and then to the back door of the museum. So they would, it would be covered. So hopefully it doesn't rain, but if it does, yes, Linda.
No, I just crossed my fingers.
Oh, okay.
Because even on a day that's not too hot, if it's sunny, you're still very warm sitting there watching whatever on the stage.
Oh, we've considered all that, and apparently it's quite shady in the evening because of all the trees that are around.
Right, good.
June, you had a question?
As far as the new group from New Zealand, are they definitely going, do you have any coming from New Zealand now? That our first list that you gave, we didn't have anybody from New Zealand.
That was the last. Yes, we definitely have 4 people coming.
4 coming from
They're
there.
all based, they're all brand new to the organization. They haven't got any idea what goes on. They run a group in New Zealand called the Stratford Trust, I think it's called. And every year they run a week in April over Shakespeare's birthday with all kinds of activities. I'm assuming they're going to do that, the reunion, when that is happening, but that's not for me to decide when they have the reunion, but to me, it makes sense that they would do this.
That was what I was wondering, if there was enough there that had got together, if they are coming, and are they ready to accept doing a Stratfords of the World reunion in 2 years? When
That's
you're
up to
saying
them.
about announcing,
They've said they will.
they said they will. Well,
Yeah,
that's
but when
great.
as we know, things change.
Yeah. Mhm.
And the 4 people that are coming are a family. They're Dixon, who has taken on this role, his partner, and his 2 teenage
Oh,
children.
teenage boys. Okay, I know you
Yes.
mentioned about them somewhere before. Mhm.
So yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So
May I make just one more comment about the museum?
yes,
This is kind of a footnote. When people are visiting the museum, they're also visiting the grounds for the archives. And so we need to bring it to people's attention that the archives are there. I don't imagine many of our visitors will have particular interest in tracking down their families, for example, but they might have some interest in the archives. On the other hand, the archives is now only open by appointment and closes at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it'll be, there's the archives. You know, if you're interested in it, do something about it. But we shouldn't ignore it. But there's not much to promote with respect to the archives when people are visiting the
Ken,
museum.
is that a different contact from Megan? Is that someone else who would work on that?
Would be whoever runs the archives.
Ken, can you answer the question?
What was that?
Is it a different contact for the archives?
It definitely is, yes.
It is. Can you contact them and see if
Well,
they'd be willing to open a little later?
When I was at the museum the other day, I thought I would pop into the archives and speak to them, and of course, they were closed.
They were closed.
So I can track them down. And I do want to bring it to their attention, because I don't want someone to come to the archives and be surprised that all of a sudden there's hundreds of people around doing something else. So
But if we know what's expected, then we can we can work on that.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't forget to make an appointment, Ken.
What's that? Oh,
Don't
yes.
forget to make an appointment.
Well, it's kind of like, I think it's kind of like the Beacon Herald now. The Beacon Herald has an office with no hours. And I hear today that the Post Media is going to reduce their staff. So I wonder how they can reduce the staff from 0.
Yeah.
That's the modern way, the modern age.
Okay, so that is the itinerary. Other costs that we need to consider are we will be making up a handbook with every bit of information in it that our guests, we anticipate our guests will need. And Linda is putting together that handbook. And she is also working on the lanyards, the ID lanyards that we will be giving to our guests. Do you want to talk to that, Linda?
Yes, I contacted the local company that does lanyards and badge holders, and then I also found out that they do handbooks, so I've got quotes for all of that. And for the lanyards and badge holders, it's $308. And for the booklets, it is, I've got it somewhere here. Is $773, including tax. The actual badges themselves would be about $30. And the little insert for the badge holder that has the itinerary on it, just a slim piece of paper. He says he can't do that because he can't fold it because it needs to be folded in 3. But I've just designed one, and I can print, take it to Staples and get that printed. So I don't know what that would be, something like $30. So,
We can fold.
yes,
I
I
can
know
say
we can fold. I
can
say that we
fold.
can do that when we're, when
Yeah.
we're doing the bags. Yeah.
Okay, other costs I anticipate is going to be, there's going to be a lot of office supplies, and that I can't even begin to say what kind of price that will be. We talked about providing snacks for people to take on bus tours. That I don't know a cost for that. We have our garden, and I'll let Susan talk to costs related to that, to bringing it up to scratch. Susan, do you want to talk about the garden?
Okay, I have contacted Quinn, and
Coming down.
I've designed a plan from changing up.
Yeah. Looks kind of pretty.
Sorry, go ahead, Susan.
With the garden in the past, for when we were going to do this in 2020, I had a plan submitted to Quinn that his workers were going to plant for me. And at that point, we were putting in our 2020 logo and incorporating the Stratford City colors of yellow and blue. All I've done is taken and changed that plan, taken out 2020 and put in SOTW, Stratfords of the World. I haven't given him the graph on that yet, because I'll take that over to the office. But he says he can probably do it where previously, because we haven't known how things are going, he would have liked to have had all this submitted in November, but that's COVID and life. Otherwise, that garden needs some serious amending, and we'd also talk footpaths at one point, but I think that we'll hold that for the moment. I'd also picked up a bunch of peat mulch, and that cost would come to about $50, but the majority of the flowers should be provided by Quinn, and then we'll see if we incorporate any of the perennials that I put to overwinter if they come back, sort of as an accent around the stone. So that's basically the garden until I meet with Quinn and hear anything further back.
Okay. The other
Joan?
thing, yes, Linda.
Could I just jump back to the lanyards? Joan and I decided to have blue lanyards with yellow printing on them,
Sounds great.
and our logo.
And our logo, yeah.
You all know, of course, that blue and yellow are the colors of Ukraine.
Yes.
We're not getting political,
Well, no, but that's.
but I know what you mean.
They're also the colors of Stratford.
That's why we're using them. Any more questions for Susan regarding the garden?
Can I ask where the garden is?
It's
Very
between
good question.
the band shell in Upper Queens Park
Okay.
and the bathrooms.
Okay.
If you go over there, you'll see there's a nice big rock in the middle, and we have a plaque that we put in there, and it says 2020. But we're ignoring that. We'll just carry on as if it said 2023.
Okay.
So that 30 years from now, when families visit the park and show this rock to their children, they'll have to explain to them why it says 2020, even though it was in 2023.
I don't think they'll know, do you?
There's going to be no notation to that effect.
No.
And that will be part of our dedication to say this is one of the longest planned reunions the Stratfords of the world have had.
Certainly is.
And last summer I had a young man and his dad who he nicely perched on top of the plaque and had the picture taken with it.
Okay, moving on. Joyce, I'm going to ask you about hosting and how that's going. If you could fill us in.
Yes, I've just started. And because we're in Toronto, my binder is at home and my stuff is all spread out on my dining room table. So I don't have too many specifics. I'm just in the beginning stages.
Do you think we're going to have enough hosts?
That I did not count out, and I should have, but I didn't know you were going to call on me today. So no, I didn't count that out. I've just gone through my binder, pulled out the papers that from last time that I don't need, and added up some numbers, and I'm getting my sticky, you know how I have my different colored sticky notes. I'm getting those prepared, but I didn't actually start matching people yet or doing those numbers.
Okay. And I can't remember how many actual hosts we had. It was round about 25, I think, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, something like that. But as I said, I've left my binder in Stratford.
Okay, not a problem. We discussed having a host meeting, and we also discussed notifying hosts who who would be staying with them prior to about the end of March, and then we would have a host meeting to get together with everybody by the end of April, and we proposed the 23rd of April.
Yes.
That will be a meeting where everybody comes, meets up, and they can ask us any question. It'd be very informal, and
And it would probably be a Sunday.
I think the 23rd is a Sunday.
Because some of
Yes.
our host families could be still working.
Yes. So I've got a list of rooms and areas that I'm going to ask, give the list to Casey, and we'll ask her to reserve those for us. And I'll do that closer to the end. Okay, now that we basically covered, I'm going to say 90% of what our financing will be, I'll just fill you in what I have heard from finance today. I will admit I got very confused when I was talking to finance. Anyway, Casey was good enough to try and sort me out. We have we have 17,675 in registration fees. We have 17,913 in our reserve. This is the part that confused me because I thought we only had 9,000, but we've got 70. And how that came about is council last year approved our ask of 10,000 and it went into our reserve. I didn't realize that until today. So our total amount that we have is $35,438 at this point. We have also asked for the 2023 budget, we've asked for another 10,000. So we would have $45,438 in our budget to spend for the reunion. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the itinerary and all costs associated with that. Sorry, Dave's asking me if I want a cup of coffee. I'm going to ask for a motion. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the itinerary and
Seconder.
an amount of 40. See, now he's got me confused.
Joan, if I may,
Yes.
it's Tatiana. I'm
Hi,
wondering if
Tatiana.
how are you?
I'm
I'm
good.
wondering if the amount can be 42,500, which is what the budget submission originally outlined.
Okay.
And then that way, once the 2023 draft budget is officially approved, as staff, we can provide you with that final number. But I think for now, that gives enough direction for the committee at this time.
Okay, that's perfect, because I was just going to put it at 40,000, but so I'm sure Casey has got that amount.
Yes.
So a motion to approve the itinerary and all the costs associated with it up to a maximum of the 42,000 is the motion that I'm presenting. So Susan, you're going to present that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. I think I need a.
Well, can I ask a question first? So that
Yeah.
covers all the costs that we anticipate having, right?
It's more than what we
Well, okay, all right,
anticipate.
it does cover
So
them.
the thing is, if we need more, we'd have to come back. If we vote for less, then we'd have to come back for a meeting and approve it. So this way, it avoids having to have more budget meetings to approve everything.
It gives
So,
us a little cushion.
yeah,
I'm current with
exactly.
that. We don't want to be short, that's all.
So, no. So Casey, what do I need now?
All in favor?
Yep, you just need to vote on that.
Okay, so it's
All in favor.
all in favor?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Good, okay. So my next thing is I need to ask Casey to book some rooms for us. I believe we already have City Hall booked for what would be the civic reception on that would be on the 3rd of August.
Yep,
I
I'll double
believe
check.
when
I'll double check that for you. But I think we
Okay.
tentatively booked that with Danielle, I think.
Yes, I think she booked the whole week, reserved the whole week.
Okay.
for us. So, which is great. And it would be the afternoon, say from 12 to 5, somewhere in that range. I would need to book the band shell up to Upper Queens Park. And I know if I remember, there was a special outdoor events thing I had to fill in, but I can't remember any of that. If Casey, you can fill me in. But that would be on August the 7th, probably from 1 till 4.
Okay, I'll look into that and get you in touch with the right person.
Thank you. The other thing for our host get together would be on April the 23rd, and that's a Sunday. And I'm thinking from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Are you thinking up at the Rotary Complex
At
somewhere?
the Tim Taylor, sorry, yes.
Okay.
I would like to have another planning meeting, and that would be on February the 8th in the games room at the complex. And Barbara, I'll fill you in on what our we have informal planning meetings, and as I say, they're very informal. There's nothing recorded. We just chat about each event, and that's how we've reached the point where we're at right now.
Okay.
Do you have a time for the meeting, Joan?
It probably would be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I'll let you know when that's confirmed, when Casey tells me if the room has been booked.
Yeah, I think you sent me for February 8th and March 8th. So I put the request in for both those days, and I think they
Okay.
requested 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay. So yeah, the next one would be on March the 8th. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll be meeting formally at these meetings, and the next one I'm planning is in March, and I've been assured by Casey we will be able to meet in person by then. So that would,
We're both planning.
I'll get to that one in a minute. So anybody have any questions about the rooms I'm asking Casey to book, or any of the events that we've gone through? So, or are we all good there? Yay. Yes, June. June, you're muted.
I had a phone call come in, that's why. Okay, I was just wondering, for the host meeting, are you going to do like a coffee and cookies or anything like that, or just have
Probably.
it something
Probably.
like that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay, well,
regarding that, Ken, I would need all that stuff from your locker by that date.
Hopefully it'll get warm by then.
Yeah, hopefully.
That is to say, above 5 degrees. I'm gonna go as soon as it gets above 5.
Okay.
Just coffee and cookies or something?
Well, we can get to that later.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay. I don't think I have anything else on my list.
I have a
So-
question. I was gonna ask, when we're talking about the host and registration, and you said that we might have to deliver some of the visitors to their hosts, and that's what I wondered whether any of the hosts might be far enough away that that'll be an expedition for us.
As far as I can remember, Joyce may know otherwise, the only people out of town are the Smelskis.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what about Lorraine from Sebringville?
Bad?
Bab,
No.
yeah, Lorraine
Yeah.
Bab.
She lives in town.
That's
Is
not
she
too
in town
far.
now? Okay, yeah, as far as I know, I only think of there's Smelskis, but again, I haven't read over all the forms.
No.
I only asked that remembering what happened in Prince Edward Island. I think Wayne was billeted on the other side of the island or something, and
And PEI.
Yes, we were very interested.
we want to
How-
try.
However, we did have a rental car, and we had another friend who was billeted like just down the street, and her host was very gracious, and she picked us up, and so we were fine.
Okay. Well, that's just a consideration.
Yeah, no, and the Smelskis, the people who have requested to stay with the Smelskis, they know them very well.
Yes.
And so it's not going to be a problem.
No, and I just spoke to Jean recently, and they're totally on board with that.
Good, good. Okay. The next item is new business, and I don't think I have any new business. Does anybody have new business of any kind whatsoever? As we've been doing this for nearly 5 years, then it shouldn't be new.
Some of you have.
Okay, our date for our next meeting, I'm proposing March the 22nd at 2 o'clock. And Casey will let us know where that will be held. It is a Wednesday.
That's a Zoom meeting,
No, this one will be in person.
March
Coun-
22nd.
City Council approved in-person meeting for advisory committees starting in March.
Okay, what about the February 8th one? That's a
Those-
planning meeting.
That is a planning meeting, so we will meet
Right.
casually. Okay, so
And
anybody got more questions? Yes, Ken.
I just wanted to make point out something for Tatiana's benefit. Don't forget our indoctrination sessions, how to serve as advisory committee members. When
Oh, yeah.
that's Monday, is it? I
It's
think.
next Monday, yes. I presume are most people going to the meeting in
St. Mary's.
St. Mary's
I'm
or
just,
being
I'm
there
just
in
doing
person?
the Zoom.
I'm
You're doing it on
virtually.
Zoom?
Yes,
Zoom.
I am.
I plan to go in person. I
will
think
be there.
Susan plans to go in person, and I know Kathy intends to go in person. So we'll see you there.
Oh,
Um,
Is there anybody that I could go with? I just didn't want to go by myself driving at night.
Oh, absolutely. We can arrange that.
We
if
may
you wanna go in
carpool.
person.
Oh, okay. Casey, I replied to you that I was going to do it on Zoom. Can you change that I'll ride with somebody?
You bet. I'll put you in person, June.
Okay. Who wants to take me then?
We'll work that one out.
That's Monday.
Well,
Yeah,
I
too
don't.
Far for me.
If the weather is like it is right now, I'm not going in
Well,
person.
then it will be Zoom.
Yes,
Oh,
Joan?
okay. Mhm.
yes.
On the next
Getting
business,
snow every day next week.
Joan,
Sorry. Who? Yes, Susan.
on the next business meeting, do you have a time and a place?
Don't have a place, but it will be at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Okay.
Casey will let us know when she knows where we're going to go.
It will most likely be a room up at the Rotary Complex somewhere.
Okay. So having said all that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll do the motion.
Okay, and who
Too
will
late.
second that?
I'll second it.
Okay,
All in favor?
all in favor?
All
All right.
Oh, yeah, someone's going like this.
Okay,
Can I
thanks,
just
guys. That
say
was a great
something?
meeting.
Good night, thanks.
Can I just
Bye.
add something?
I hope you're not too
I
confused.
think Barbara
Barbara.
wants to add something.
I
Yeah.
just want to say, because I'm new and I really didn't know what this was all about, and I'm so far into the process. You guys are so far into the process, and you all have your jobs and everything. But if there's anything I could do to help anybody, because if anybody's overwhelmed and needs some help with something, you seem to be totally organized. So it's very
That
impressive.
would be all of us overwhelmed. Okay.
Yes. So
If you can make it to the planning meeting on the 8th,
yes.
then we can discuss where we can place you and what your
Okay.
skills are and who you can help.
Great.
Okay.
Wonderful. Look forward
Thank
to
you,
it.
Barbara.
Yeah.
And can you
Okay.
bring us back some oranges?
They
She
don't
won't.
let you take them across the border. I'm actually,
Oh,
They do
I won't-
actually.
I won't be at the meeting Monday because I'm flying to Toronto to refresh my health plan because you can, the health plan I have as a widow, every 90 days I have to refresh it and I'm almost to my 90 days. So that's why I can't even Zoom on the 30th. But Casey knows and they're going to look after me somehow.
Okay, thanks, everybody. We'll see you on the 8th.